Alcatel really nailed it when they released its 5.5-inch version, the Alcatel Onetouch Idol 3. Earlier this year, they've really focused this attention on this low-cost premium segment of the market, and they've been quite successful because we've been pretty happy with that handset. But now they're following up with a smaller size version of that handset, which looks to be equally compelling with its $180 price point. Hey guys, John V from PhoneArena here. You're watching our video review of the 4.7-inch version of the Alcatel Onetouch Idol 3. The biggest attraction about the phone is no doubt its $180 outright cost. That is pretty inexpensive for what it packs, and with that, we're definitely pleased by the overall design. It's an unlocked smartphone, GSM LTE connectivity on board, and it follows in the same design style as the 5.5-inch version, but on a smaller scale. And still pleasantly nice because it combines a matte plastic chassis with this chrome frame. And the nice thing about it is that it's super lightweight and extremely compact, super sleek. And this is arguably probably the perfect size for any smartphone, just because you don't have to really reach all that much to cover all areas of the screen. The other thing that really stands out is the display. It utilizes the same Technicolor enhancing technology that we found with the 5.5-inch version. With this though, we get only a 4.7-inch 720p TFT IPS display, but it has some qualities that are similar to AMOLED. So what you get there are some oversaturated colors, you get some wide viewing angles, and a pretty good black color as well. But when it comes to being perfectly calibrated, it's really not, because you have a color temperature of 7300 kelvins. You have also some deviation with its color accuracy. In the spectrum chart, it tends to exhibit overblown colors. So things like magenta turn out to be a little bit on the bluish side. But despite that, we do like the sheer iridescence, and especially its 600 plus nits of brightness. It's exceptionally strong, so when it comes to outdoor visibility, there's no problem at all with this one. And just like before, you have dual front-firing JBL speakers by Harman, and we gotta say, it really provides for an immersive experience, especially when we watch videos, because when you combine that with the iridescent glow of the display, it gives you that ideal experience, and videos play very smoothly. Over on the audio side, when it comes to the music player, we're given that role of a DJ because of the player, and that's a pretty refreshing experience, but it's really nice that there's some substance behind its output. Now, due to its smaller frame and size, they're only able to stuff a 2000 milliamp hour battery, so that's not really a large capacity, but despite that, it produced some better than average results. In fact, you're going to get more than a day of normal usage out of it. And our benchmark test, it manages to pull out a pretty respectable 7 hours and 25 minutes, which is still better than the iPhone 6. On top of that, it's pretty reasonably fast with its recharge time of only 109 minutes. However, there are some underperforming aspects about the smartphone here. First is the camera. So what you have here is a 13 megapixel rear camera combined with a 5 megapixel front-facing one. So that's pretty good for a low-cost budget smartphone. And the interface we especially like just because it offers a good mixture between shooting modes and manual controls. And with the manual mode itself, you could even adjust the focus and even the shutter speed parameters. That's something you typically don't get with most budget-friendly phones. But the quality is just a little bit on the disappointing side. Now, while it works well for outdoor shots where there's plenty of lighting, with its HDR mode, it tends to overexpose images, and it's kind of light on the details. Under low light, you could pretty much forget about it just because there's heavy presence of noise and really soft and splotchy looking details. And when it comes to the video recording side, it tops out at 1080p, but the problems that it has is just a very distorted audio recording and the choppier 23 frame rate capture it does with it. The other thing is that it's kind of sluggish with more processor-intensive applications. So it's powered by a Snapdragon 410 chip with 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, and while it does decently when it comes to the trivial things, it kind of stutters when it comes to more processor-intensive stuff like gaming or heavy multitasking. It's just not equipped for that. Now you can tell here it's running a mostly stock Android Lollipop experience, but you do see some subtle customizations. But for the most part, it's simple and straightforward. The unique thing about it is that the UI is reversible, so you could flip the phone over and you could either use it both ways, which is different, but we wouldn't say it's a die-hard feature. And lastly, it does decently with phone calls too. It gets the job done just because there's a pretty strong volume output with the earpiece and the speakerphone. So even noisy conditions, we're able to hear callers. The only thing is that voices through the earpiece just tend to have a little bit of a hissy, distorted tone to them. It's not bad, but we do notice it. There's certainly no arguing about the kind of value you get with the 4.7-inch Alcatel Onetouch Idol 3 at $180. It's pretty much a steal. We definitely like the smaller size of the handset. It's just so refreshing, especially in an age where we're seeing a lot of 5+-inch devices. This one here is very easy to use in the hand, and we definitely like its lightweight figure. On top of that, you have a really nice polarizing glow with the display, something that really stands out. A great audio experience with the speakers, and does decently too for phone calls and battery life. So a good package, especially at $180. Now its biggest competition is going to be the Moto G, the 2015. Now you'll probably want to go with that handset if you really need that water-resistant construction. If not, this makes for a pretty compelling offering.